You are listening to the E2C Network, where the Auburn family speaks.
War Eagle Auburn fans, and welcome to Tiger Tracks, your source for Auburn track and field news and discussion. I'm your host, Jessica Loomis, and I'm here with my husband, Kyle, to discuss the War Eagle Invite that took place in Auburn on April 15th and 16th.
It's nice to be back home for one of the 2 times we get to do it every year.
It is. So not only was this the final meet in Auburn this year, it is Coach Ralph Spry's final home meet.
Listen, we weren't even a minute into this, and you got to bring the sadness back.
Well, you're the one that told me to talk about it, and I don't want Coach Spry to feel like he is not a extremely important part of our podcast.
He's been here for 25 years.
That's
I'm
my
pretty
point.
sure he knows how important he is.
No, I said important part of my podcast.
Oh, podcast, excuse me. We have not been doing this podcast for 25 years.
No.
It feels like it sometimes when your wife forgets your name in the pre-show.
I just failed to mention his name.
No, she forgot my name. That's in the Booster Club. For those of you that are
That's
part of
not
that,
what happened.
you'll get to hear that blooper reel.
That's not what happened. Anyway, Kyle, we are here. Kyle, we were talking about the War Eagle Invite. So it was a big meet.
Well, I mean, obviously, you're going to have you don't have to worry about travel, situations, trying to get all the different athletes there. It's going to be a lot easier to have everybody since you're right there on campus where everybody lives anyway. So you are going to see a lot of, I won't call them new names, but names you don't see as often. You're
That's
also
true.
going to see a lot of people competing in events they haven't even competed in yet. It just gives you, when you're at home, it opens up opportunities for your team and for the individuals to do more things because obviously you're right down the street, probably from where you live.
That's true. But there were a lot of teams that competed
Yes.
that, we had some Alabama schools, UAH, obviously Alabama.
sorry,
But things
who?
like Tulane. I mean, there were a lot of schools competing.
I've always been shocked because I usually ended up going to the Tiger Track Classic or the War Eagle Invite, how many teams actually come to Auburn. Because let's just be honest,
Yeah.
Outside of, I think Ralph Spry's had 1 national championship with the women back in 2006, something like that. I can't remember. But Auburn's just not known as a center point for, track and field stuff. But to see this many schools come here year in, year out for 2 events, that shows you how big an event this has become over the years under Coach Spry's leadership.
Yep, absolutely. So it was a great weekend. It seemed like it was moderately nice weather. So
As nice as it can be in the days of the South right now with
Right,
wind
absolutely.
and rain and wind and more rain and more wind.
absolutely. So we have a lot of highlights to talk about. So do you want to hit those before we get to all of the meet results?
We'll start off with, of course, Maddie Malone in the women's hammer throw. She broke her own school record with a throw of 69.12 meters. We also got Ashley Carter, who we've gotten to know in the javelin throw. Well, she just went in and won it as well with a PR of 54.03 meters.
Kiara McCarroll also placed second in the women's javelin. So, of course, Ashley and Kiara killing it again.
I want to know why our women are so good at throwing things. Basically, don't
They
ever
probably
make,
have
don't make them
men-
upset.
I was going to say, they probably have men in their lives that just make them so angry they have to throw something.
Are you speaking from experience?
Moving on
But
to
here's-
Kyle Brown.
But here's the thing, though, is that even if you could throw really far or really hard, you don't have any aim. So
That's me. I'm also not a collegiate athlete.
you could have been if you wanted to, just not in the
No.
just not in the throwing events
In what, napping?
or the walking downstairs events. Or
I'm
anything
thinking I could have been a college athlete in naps.
probably so.
Yeah. So Kyle Brown, he got a PR in the men's hammer throw with a toss of 68.07 meters, which got him the first place.
It's his first place all around for throwing things. Let's keep it going. Mara Hewalt won the women's discus with a season best for her, 53.41 meters. Followed up by Joyce Camelli, who competed for the very first time, I believe, in this event this season.
Yep.
Won the women's 3,000 meter steeplechase with a time of 9 minutes, 41.15 seconds, which is the nation's leading time this season. We are used to this. Joyce Camelli coming in for the first time in an event in the season and just
And
killing
winning it.
And
Yeah.
she's obviously, this is her home course, so this has probably just helped her do this great event.
That's true. Dontavius Hill, he won the men's high jump. Janiah Jones got a PR in the long jump with a jump of 6.13 meters, earning her second place. And Aaliyah Francis placed second in the women's 400 meter with a PR of 53.4 seconds.
Lots of wins, lots of golds. I want to know where the gold at. It is in Auburn this weekend.
Oh my gosh, you are crazy.
Well, it's a great way to send Coach Spry out on
Absolutely.
his final home meet. And they had senior day as well,
Yes.
because obviously this is the last home meet, so they're going to honor the seniors there. So it was kind of nice. You saw a picture on social media, Coach Spry standing there with his athletes, having a picture of them in their event. It was just a really good shot.
That's such a cool, it's a cool picture of the pictures.
Yeah.
It's like in picture inception.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. That's actually a really good analogy.
But it's really cool to think that those athletes will have those pictures forever.
Yeah, and I like how they're honoring Coach Spry.
Yeah.
Not just Auburn, but also other schools. When he went to Ole Miss, I believe they did something special for him. Just something minor, just kind of recognizing what he's meant to the sport. So we continue the farewell tour that is Ralph Spry in track and field.
Absolutely. Well, Kyle, let's move on to all of the events.
Saddle up, folks. We got a lot here. We're out of the highlights. Let's hit them all. The women's 100 meter, Tyler Colbert, 12th out of 58 competitors with a time of 11.89 seconds. That is the first time she's competed in that this year. Then Hope Igbenogany, a familiar last name with her brother Noah, who's now in the NFL. She got 37th out of the 58 with a time of 12.45 seconds, which is her best time of the year so far. Also, the women's 100-meter hurdles, Elise Heddens, 19th out of 36 with a time of 14.57 seconds. Also, her best time of the year in that event.
Yep. Moving on to the women's 200 meters, we had Aaliyah Francis placing 3rd out of 63 athletes with a time of 23.5 seconds, an absolutely incredible time. And then Hope Igbenogany competed in this as well, placing 46th in 26.15 seconds. The women's 400 meter, Aaliyah Francis competed in this as well, getting a silver medal, 2nd out of 46 athletes. So she got her silver and her bronze.
Silver and bronze.
Thank you. She had her fastest time of the season with a 53.4 second, and Jen Dietrich placing 24th in 57.21 seconds, her fastest of the season.
Something I want to point out, if you ever want to know how big a meet is, just look at the sprints.
Yeah.
That's really where you can
Honestly.
see how big, because as we've seen throughout this isn't even the biggest amount for some of the shorter sprints that we've seen, but this is still a big meet with 63 running in the 200 meter alone.
Again, when you think about how many heats that requires,
Yes.
If they are utilizing the entire track of 8 lanes, which they probably didn't every time, you've got a minimum of 8 heats.
I'm doing math in my head and it's not
8
working.
8 times 8 is 64, right?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
guessing. I'm using that Auburn degree for the math right now.
I'm hoping I'm right. If not, I look like an idiot right now.
Women's 400 meter hurdles. Asia Jinks, 4th, just outside of the podium for her with 28 competitors, but her best time of the year, 60.16 seconds. Followed up by Morgan Milliken, 23rd out of those 28, with her best time as well, 67.62 seconds.
And yet again, let's point out how Asia is faster than Jessica in the 400, launching herself over hurdles than I ever was just running plain.
Don't do
400.
that to yourself.
It just
don't compare yourself with collegiate athletes.
It just hurts your heart when that was my favorite event and I just wasn't very good at it.
And she jumps and runs at the same time better than you.
That's what I'm saying.
The women's 800 meter, we're going to get to familiar again with the Presleys. 2 of them, Presley Weems, won the whole thing out of 46 competitors, 2 minutes, 6.7 seconds, which is her best time of the year. Then Presley Miles, 42nd out of those 46 competitors, 2 minutes, 27.4 seconds. And then Lindsay Grainer, 45th out of the 46, 2 minutes, 43.5 seconds. Also her best time of the year.
It's funny hearing you say some people's names. I don't know which one of us is right, but in my head, that's Lindsay Grenier.
If you just let me say it with confidence, nobody would know that I probably
saying,
messed it up.
I just wonder which one of us. It's probably me. Moving on to the women's 3,000 meter steeplechase, like we already talked about, Joyce Camelli getting that first place finish. There were 18 competitors in this. I can't believe it. That's a lot. She got her season best and, like I said, the nation's top mark currently of 9 minutes, 41.15 seconds.
I'm excited to watch her continue to do this one because it is quite entertaining. I mean, you're running,
amazing.
You jump, run, and go through water all at the same time.
Literally.
I mean, who decided that was going to be what you do on this event? It wasn't enough to run this amount.
It was a man named John Steeplechase.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Hey Auburn fans, I want to take a quick timeout from this episode to bring your attention to something very special. Here at the E2C Network, we pride ourselves on bringing you the best content for Auburn fans out there. And best of all, it's free to you. But just because it's free doesn't mean there aren't costs, especially when you have a library of hundreds of podcasts, videos, blogs, and more. Many of you have reached out and asked how you can support this network in the past. Well, now I have your answer. It's called the E2C Network Booster Club over at patreon.com/E2C Network. There you'll find a membership monthly reward system where you can sign up for as little as $1 and get different perks at different tiers. Some of those perks include things such as apparel, eligibility to join us on future podcasts, recognition as an E2C Network booster, exclusive communications, and bonus content that is available nowhere else. If you love this network and want to help us keep producing podcasts like this one, please head on over to patreon.com/E2C Network to join the E2C Network Booster Club. You can also get there by going to our website, e2cnetwork.com/support. Whether you decide to join or not, we are still so appreciative that you would support us by just listening and being here, because each and every one of you is part of our E2C Network family. Well, that's it. Timeout's over. Let's get back into the episode.
Women's 5,000 meter. 4 Auburn competitors. There were 22 athletes competing. Hannah Thuss got 7th with her season best of 17 minutes, 16.8 seconds. Louisa McPherson placing 10th in 17 minutes, 23 seconds. And Gigi Maddox placing 18th in 17 minutes, 37.5 seconds. Finally, Hannah Tarwater in 21st place in 18 minutes, 6.3 seconds. Her best of the season.
Of course, I get to start off the throwing events for the ladies here. The women's hammer throw, we've already talked about it. Maddie Malone taking the gold, 69.12 meters with her best throw of the year so far. Followed up by Danny Gregory in 6th out of 24 competitors. Her best throw, 56.85 meters. Then Mara Hewalt in 9th out of the 24, 51.82 meters. Not her best time, but she still finishes in the top 10, so all your Tigers are in the top 10 for this event. Next, we have the women's javelin throw. We've already talked about her, Ashley Carter, who won the gold out of 21 competitors. Her best throw of the year, 54.03 meters. Followed up by Kiara McCarroll, who is just behind her in 2nd, 53.69 meter throw. And Shania Holly in 5th, 47.44 meter throw. All of them in the top 5 in this event.
And 2 of them having their season best.
Yes.
So far.
Everybody is loving being home and performing on the biggest stage at home, too.
I love that. You're right. So moving on to the women's high jump, we had Kamaya Dindy placing 3rd out of 17 athletes with her season best of 1.72 meters. Women's long jump, we had Janiah Jones placing 2nd out of 34 athletes with her season best of 6.13 meters. Imani Jones placing 19th with 5.4 meter jump. And Megan Loneman placing 31st with a jump of 5 meters flat.
The women's pole vault, Lexi Landweber, 21st out of the 21st competitors, 3.47 meters was her vault. I'm trying to get used to saying that. Even it's not her best of the season, but she can get up to about 3.91 meters. So a little bit behind that this time, but still happy to see her out there in that event.
Absolutely.
The shot put, Mara Hewalt, 2nd out of the 23 competitors with a throw of 15.84 meters. And then Trendy Love, who was 21st out of the 23, 11.35 meters, her best throw of the season.
For women's discus, we had Mara Hewalt placing 1st, like we discussed, out of 24 athletes with her season best of 53.41 meters. Jocelyn Budwig placing 3rd with a throw of 50.12 meters. And Trinity Love placing 12th with a throw of 41.31 meters. Mm-hmm. And then my favorite event, which I am so happy to finally get to talk about Auburn having a 4x4 team. So the women's 4x400 team was made up of Asia Jinks, Tyler Colbert, Aaliyah Francis, and Elise Heddens. They placed 5th out of 11 teams with a time of 3 minutes and 51 seconds.
You're just beaming with pride
I
right now.
am just so freaking happy. If y'all can't hear, I am smiling. You know, your voice sounds different when you smile. Don't make a joke about that. But first of all, they had a team to compete. They had enough competitors. But also, they placed 5th out of 11. They were in the top half. This is the first time they've competed in the 4x4 this season. I think that is an absolutely incredible showing for the first time competing.
It is. Happy that you are happy.
I'm so happy.
All right, let's talk about the men. I'll start us off. We've got the men's 100-meter dash. Christopher Grant, 4th, just outside the podium with 53 competitors in this event. 10.37 seconds was his best time. of the season.
I
thus
also
far.
love that the 3 times he's competed in this event, he did 10.39, 10.38, 10.37.
Literally 0.01 improvement every
Every
single time.
I love that.
Hey, listen, it's improvement, and I will take it regardless.
Amen.
And think about it. That amount of a difference in that short of a race is still a big difference.
It's huge.
It is. Jason Reese, eighth out of the 53 competitors, 10.52 seconds, which is also his best time of the year. Brandon Smiley in ninth, 10.54 seconds was his run. Again, we've talked about it a lot, Tigers in the top 10 of this event. The men's 110-meter hurdles, led by Alex Spyridonidis, 12th out of 29 competitors, 14.7 seconds. First time we saw him in this event this year. Trey Reynolds, 15th out of the 29, 14.94 seconds. David Edmondson, 19th out of a time of 15.27 seconds. And then John Murray, 21st out of the 29, 15.42 meters for David and John. Best times of the season for them, too.
Awesome. Moving on to the men's 200-meter, we had Brandon Smiley placing 5th out of 40 competitors with a time of 21.32 seconds, and Jason Reese placing 13th with his season best of 21.54 seconds. Moving on to the men's 400-meter hurdles, we had Luke Roberts placing 14th out of 28 competitors with a time of 54.39 seconds. Then Caden Seal placing 16th in 55.08 seconds.
Very similar to what we saw in the 100-meter dash. Caden has been improving just ever so slightly each time he has run, and he's ran in every outdoor meet this season. So good job for Caden. The men's 1,500-meter run, Benson Atkins, 18th out of 28 with a time of 3 minutes, 59.1 seconds. Great job.
Can you imagine how good it felt for him to get under that 4-minute mark?
I can imagine. That's probably like one of those barriers that you're like,
Oh,
if I can just cross this one.
I just remember in high school, obviously, guys, I only ran in high school, that like the milestones of for females to get under 5 minutes and guys to get under 4 minutes. Like we did have some high school athletes that did both of those things.
Right.
And it was just like this wonderful, like amazing event. So I think that's fabulous.
Absolutely is. The men's 5,000 meter, let's just rank it up there with all the running distances. Mark Foster, second time we'll see him this season in this event, 17th out of 23, but his best time, 14 minutes, 52.5 seconds.
For the men's discus, we had a lot of athletes. We had Kyle Moisen placing 5th out of 27 with a throw of 51.54 meters. Quentin Wynn placing 7th with his season best of 50.02 meters. Alex Spyridonidis placing 21st in 41.59 meters. John Murray placing 25th in 38.81 meters. And David Edmondson placing 27th with a throw of 30.68. So for the men's hammer throw, we also had 4 athletes competing here. We had Kyle Brown placing first, getting his PR of 68.07 meters. Mm-hmm. Eric Ebel placing third, so first and third place finishes, with a throw of 65.92 meters. Kyle Moisen placing 5th in 63.55 meters, and Quentin Wynn placing 17th in 47.83 meters.
Next up, the men's javelin throw, David Edmondson, 18th out of 20 competitors, 43.72 meters for him. The men's high jump, 3 to talk about. Of course, we've gotten to know Dontavius Hill even better this season with the way he's been performing, and he just keeps it going, taking the gold out of the 16 competitors there. A 2.21 meter jump. That is actually not his best of the year, but just behind it. His best is 2.2 meters.
2.22, actually.
And Zach Marinko and TJ after him both got 2 meters and finished 10th, tied together, but both at their best marks of the year. This was probably a great event for the Tigers to, if you were there, to watch.
Yeah, I'm sure. Men's pole vault, we had James Corson placing third, getting that bronze medal out of 14 competitors with a vault of 5.11 meters. I almost said with a jump. Kyle, you were rubbing off on me.
My evil schemes are finally working.
Matthew Asplund placing 4th in 4.96 meters, his best of the season. Then for men's shot put, we had Ethan Richter placing 5th out of 20 competitors with his season best of 17.14 meters. And Quentin Wynn placing 8th with a throw of 15.99 meters.
Very successful meet at home, a great senior day, and a great way to send out Coach Spratt on his last home meet. And might I add, if I remember correctly, seen on social media, that our women's team is now ranked like 17th in the I'm not going to use the acronym, the USTC
USFT.
something. The longest acronym in existence. Basically, in the rankings, the women are 17th.
That's
So
awesome.
another accomplishment for them after this weekend.
Awesome. Well, I don't even want to tell you where Auburn has to go after the War
Do
Eagle
we have
Invite.
to say it?
So they are going across the state.
Where all the sewage goes.
Wow. Never mind, I'm going to say it. Auburn's headed to the Crimson Tide Invitational, April 22nd through 23rd, in obviously Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But it is fitting that Auburn's meet was first, because Auburn is always number one in our hearts.
Absolutely. Obviously it is, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, track and field athletes. And you, Coach Spry, that you have to go there in your last season.
And kill it.
Please do.
Please kill it. All right. Well, y'all have a great week. War Eagle, we look forward to talking about the Crimson Tide Invite next week.
War Eagle. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode on the E2C Network. On your way out, I want to remind you to stop by e2cnetwork.com. It's your one-stop shop for all our content across our podcast, YouTube channel, and much more. To stay up to date with us, make sure you're following social media accounts such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. While our content here may always be Auburn sports heavy, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. War Eagle.